Hey guys, it's Saturday afternoon. Welcome to the stream. And today we are going to work on the hotbar again. But our hotbar is now working. And what we want to do is have a look at, first of all, the rewards thing. Okay? So what I'm going to do in that case is we're going to set up a button that's automatically going to do it rather than have to wait till we actually do research, right? So we're going to go into blueprints here and we're going to go into our FE controller. Okay. And this is what we're going to call. Okay. And it's update hotbars. And we need to go to our, well, this is on our event graphs, that's okay. Right, so we'll do a key up here. I'll tab that. And what we're going to do here, actually, oh, I'm not too sure about that actually. But we're not going to use the B key. We're going to use some other key. O. Let's use O. Okay, and that's going to be update hotbars. Okay. And this is going to be, I believe, minor 2. Okay. So now, when we hit the O key, it's going to go into here. Okay, so we want to stick a breakpoint here. And we want to stick a breakpoint there. And probably there. Okay, because we want to check the values coming in. So I'll show you the purpose of this first, or the purpose of this test and why we want to check it. So what this should be doing is, if a research has completed, it should fire for the hotbar to update. Then it will check to see if there's a space on the hotbar, and if there is, it will get the first index for a space. Okay? So what we should be looking for here is a minor. In fact, it shouldn't be a minor. It should be a refiner, because you can't really build a minor. So with that in mind, we need to check where and how we actually added this stuff. And I am pretty sure it is in here. It's refiner 2. Okay. So now that we've checked that, we can go back up here and we should be able to say refiner 2. Okay, so with that in mind, what we're expecting here is when I hit the O button, it should fill this in with another one of these, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's hit the O button. And there it goes. And we probably need to look at this to see if this research item actually exists as a first thing here. It's refining. Okay, so that would never have found anything, so that's good, because now we can fix it. It's refining too. Okay. So we save that, press play, drag this out the way, press 0, and we can resume that, and apparently it wasn't found. So let's stop that for a minute. And I think we're doing this slightly wrong. What we'll do is for refining 1, it's going to be refining 1, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to unlock minor 1. Sorry, minor 2. Okay. So this is going to be refining 1. So we have to go back to our controller again and get this right. This becomes a little bit complicated, but we'll get there. Now the question here is this is refining I think. So I'm going to copy that so that we get it right. Save that. And once we've sorted this problem out, we shall go on to a new widget, which is going to have to be the Hotbar management widget. Right. So we resume that and we get our thing. We step over. Right, so that's correct, it doesn't exist. We step over that, then we step over that. An empty slot is true, and it's slot 4. Then we step over that. And then you'll notice here that there's nothing in step 4. There's nothing in array index 4. But when I do this, we've now got minor 2, which is correct. And this should, if we step into this, right, it's going to clear the hotbar, which is fine, and we can resume at this point. But this is blank, which means that DT menu buildings does not have the minor 2. Right? So if we stop this and we go to here, it has, actually it does. Okay, so why is that not working, is the question. Right, so what we're going to have to do is enable this breakpoint, resume, continue, resume. Okay, so remember this is index 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and that's why it was index 4 we were looking at. Okay, so if we press 0, we're updating our hotbar, resume, resume, we step over, and we have minor 2. Okay, and in our DT menu we have minor 2, so that is correct. So there's no reason why this should not actually work. Right, and this is in our build menu. So if we step over and we get the out row, that's the refiner, right? We'll add a breakpoint there, resume, step over, that's our smelter, okay, which is maybe actually wrong, or not wrong. Is this? Yeah, it is. So we're getting the row name, right? So we resume that, step over, and that is our fabricator. We resume that, step over, and this should be our research, which is, we resume that, step over. Actually, we don't want to step over yet. Step over, so that's fine. And we have minor. We have minor, not minor 2. No, that's actually okay. The building name is minor. Right? So, player can build, and this is set to no, I think, which is why it's failing. Yep. Right. So, in effect, what we need to do is for our minor 2, we just say player can build. Right? And then should go on to the menu. Now, we need to switch that off, obviously, when we go back in. And disable that just now. Resume. Okay. Then we go that. Resume. Step over, step over, step over, step over, step over, and we have minor 2. So it's going to be resume. And I'm kind of confident this is going to work, so I'm going to take the breakpoint off. And there it is. Okay. So when we finish a building or we gain a new building from our research, right? And there's a space on this hotbar, it's automatically going to get placed on the hotbar. Okay. Now, we can't build a minor because that's not how the game works, but that shows our system is working. Okay. So, with that working and all done, the next thing we need to do is a new widget, right? And this is going to be a hotbar widget, and we've already done it, but it's, well, we haven't really done anything with it yet, shall we say? So what we're going to do is, it's not going to have 2 different panels, right? So what we're going to do is get it down to its relevant parts. So here we have the one, and here we have the other. So we can basically delete that. Okay. And we don't need the trash can, so we can delete that. Then our text in hand, we can change that to available. Right, this vertical, it's going to be like that. That's our vertical box. Right, so it's this thing here. offset top and offset bottom. Right, okay. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to use, actually I'm not going to use a widget switcher here. I'm just going to put like a list of like everything, and that is actually going to be full. Okay, we're going to rename it to GP well, I'm not too sure yet. It's going to be GP available, I suppose. Okay, now we might actually make a widget for this. And yep. So it is going to be in a scroll box, right? And probably interesting. Probably we're going to have this in sections, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another widget, which is going to be basically the sub widget of this, which is going to be available. And we're going to open this, and it's basically going to be horizontal box, right? And this it's going to probably be an image, and then we're probably going to have to do another widget, and this is going to be available individual. Okay. So that's fine. We're going to place all of these inside the box, and we're going to say that this one is W available individual, and that's going to go in here. Except this is going to get wrapped in a grid. Okay, so basically that's going to be a variable, and this is going to be GP let's call it GP items. Okay. And this is going to be fill, and let's say it's going to be 40. then this is going to be fill, and it's going to be 60. Okay, and our horizontal box is going to be like that. 0, 0. Then it's probably going to be size to content, right? So there's what our image is going to be, and that is what our item is going to be, right? Now the next thing is we need to find out all of the things that we need. Okay, so from that point of view, we're going to add a variable, and we're going to call it item type. Right, and this might end up being an enum, but we'll worry about that in a second. So we'll just make it a string for now. Okay, and the first thing we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to bring back, let's say, refiners. Okay, so we're going to delete the event construct, we're going to delete the event tick, we're going to get rid of this thing. Okay, so we're going to need dt, we're going to have to get data table row names. Okay, and these are going to have to come from our menu buildings. Okay, and from here we're going to have to do a for each loop. Okay, and the other thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get our game instance. Apparently we can't do that, so I'll tell you what we're going to do then. The first thing we're going to do is the same thing that we always do. Now, as I said, this might change. In fact, it probably will go into a different place, right? But for the most part, we're going to do get player controller, right? Then it's going to get cast to FE controller. Then it's going to get promoted to a variable. Then we're going to change the name just to straight up controller. Right. And we're going to do that. Then we're going to drag this up. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to add a custom event. And we're going to say build buildings, and we're going to add another custom event. I'm going to say build connectors, and we're going to leave it at that for now, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to drag this into here. Okay. And then we're going to say build buildings, then build connectors. Okay. That should be that. So, in the short term, right, what we're going to do is we're going to get these then we're going to get data table row. Now we are going to have to check each one, and this is going to be DT menu buildings again. This might not end up being the case, right? But as I've said to you guys a million times, we build this up nice and slow. We get our logic all in a row, and we gradually make it more and more complex by just adding little bits, right? But we don't try to dive in and create the world in our one function, right? So we take it easy. We've got our build menu here, right? And this is going to pass us back all our stuff. And really, what we're going to do here is we basically just want the building name and the image, because that is going to become the drag drop package, right? So that when we drag drop, all we want is this image and this name. Okay. So it would appear to me that this is going to be our drag drop image thing. Okay, so basically it's going to be an image. In fact, what we can do is undo that, right? And we'll test this out. We'll delete that, and what we'll have is just a vertical box, right? And then we shall have our image inside it, which is going to be obviously the image of our building, and then the text underneath it for the name of the building. Okay, so we this will do. So what we'll actually do is we'll test this out by basically doing refinery. Okay, now this may actually have to end up going in a border, but we ain't going to worry about that. And we're going to say 75 by 75. And this, it's not going to size by whatever, but we're not going to worry about that too much. We're going to go to here, right? And just for testing purposes, we'll just say refiner. So refiner. Then what we'll do is we'll center it. Then we're going to make it okay, we're not going to make it that. We'll zoom in so we can see it. That's okay. Yeah, we kind of like that. We'll see how it looks once we do it anyway, right? So anyway, and image. It's not going to be an image building. It's going to be an image item. And txt item. Okay, and both of these are going to have to be variables because we're going to pass these in. That's okay. So that's going to be your individual item. So let's take this back to show you what I'm trying to do here, right? Because it probably isn't very obvious at this point. In here, we're going to have, like, on the left hand side, we're going to have the type of building, right? So if it's a mine, well, not a miner, but let's say if it's a refiner, a fabricator, a smelter, research station, blah, 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 blah. And then on the right hand side, it's going to have the levels available, right? So if you've only unlocked, or if you've not unlocked any, you're just going to have level 1, level 1, level 1, level 1. But if you've unlocked 2, you're going to have level 1, level 2, level 1, level 2. And then what you're going to be able to do is drag this into the hotbar so that you can then make that particular level of building straight off the hotbar. Okay, that is the idea here. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll soon find out. Right, so what we're doing here is we are going to go to our graph in here. We're going to delete that. We're going to delete that. Don't know if we're deleting that yet. No, we're not. Right, so what we're going to do is create two variables. Right. And that's going to be image item. And that is going to be texture 2D. And it's going to be instance editable and expose on spawn. And basically we can duplicate this, but it's not going to be the texture, it's just going to be text or string. String will do it. And we shall call this text item. Okay. And first of all, we're going to set our text item. So we're going to say get that, then set text. Then it's going to be that. So we're going to drag that in, then do that. I'll drag that over here a bit, tidy it up. So that's going to be the first thing we do. Right. And the next thing we do is we set this image. Right. It's set brush from texture. Okay. And it's going to be this here. And that is the basic setup for our individual item. Okay. And what we're going to do now is in here we're going to create widget, and we're going to say in the available individual. Okay. And you'll notice that we have image item, text item. Okay. So that's going to be the building name. Okay. And that is going to be the image. Okay. So the next thing we need, believe it or not, or hang on a second, this is W available, right? And basically on our grid, we're going to have to do this. So what we're going to need in this case is we're going to need two more variables, and that's going to be call count. Okay, and that's going to be an integer, and then we're going to duplicate this, and this is going to be row count. Okay, and now if we drag into items, which we already did, right, we can add child to grid. Okay. And basically we're going to drag these in here and the row. But probably we're really just going to be working with the columns here. And then that'll go in there. And the next thing we'll do is we'll grab this, get it, then increment it. Then we'll say if it's greater than, let's say 3. So that's going to give us 3. Okay. Left to right. So we can bring this up here a bit, drag this in here, drag this down a bit, then we're going to do a branch. Okay, So if that's true, then we set call count equals 0 and row count gets incremented. Okay. And that goes in true. So, with that in mind, that looks all very good to me. Okay, we'll build our connectors, move that down a bit. This is gonna be a very similar thing, by the way. Right, now I do have to work out some of the logic here, but I'll do it. So the next thing we need to do is we need a button on our FE controller, and we can use the same one we were using with this because we know that this is now working, right? So what we can do is say flip-flop, right? We're going to delete that. And we're going to say create widget. And then, of course, it's hotbar management. And then we're going to add to viewport. Okay. And then we're going to get all widgets of class. Then we're going to say hotbar management. Okay. And this is just to get rid of them again. Then basically we say for each says quick test and way of doing it, and we basically say remove from parent. Okay, so basically what we're going to have here, right, is a widget inside a widget inside a widget. Sorry, we're going to have multiple widgets inside a widget inside a widget. Okay, now that might sound completely bonkers, but it kind of does make sense when you think about the way that this menu is going to be built, or sorry, this widget is going to be built, because it's going to have multiple like classes of things. So it's going to have like refiners, fabricators, smelters, research stations, metalworks. Then on the connector side there's going to be conveyors, splitters, combiners, and that's just what I've got now. So those can obviously change, right? Those can and obviously will change, and there'll be more and more stuff gets added. So this list has to be dynamic in the way that it actually works, which is hence the reason I've got it all in a scroll bar. Okay, so I don't think at this point it's going to do anything, because I haven't set it up yet to actually pull anything from anywhere, really. Right, but we'll have a look at it anyway. And there we go, right? So, really, I need to make this smaller because it shouldn't go over the top of the hotbar, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If it goes over the top of the hotbar, then it's kind of going to be hard to drag and drop them onto the hotbar, right? So that gives me the immediate idea that I need to actually change the size of this, right? So this needs to come down in size, probably. Well, actually, these can stay for the moment, but the offset top and the offset bottom need to change a bit. Okay. And that should do us, I think. We'll have a look. Right. We'll see how we're doing here. Yep, that's a lot better. I can obviously drag these on. I'm probably going to have to make this a bit less wide, which is fine. Right, so I can basically make this 375 and 375. I can probably make it even less than that, but that's kind of not the point for now. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go and grab myself a cigarette and a drink of coffee, and I shall be right back in 2 minutes. Remember to hit the like and subscribe, and check out the description for the link to my Discord. You're welcome to join, and if you want to support, then there's links to Patreon and my previous game on Steam, or you can even add it to your wish list. I'll be back in 2. Okay guys, we're back to press another button on the mic there. So let's get back into this, shall we? Let's see if we can get something on the screen that's going to... Well, I don't think it's going to get anybody excited, it's just a widget, but it's exciting when you get stuff working, I suppose. So, in our hotbar management, we are going to place in our GP available, we're going to be putting stuff. Okay. So we're going to pull in our GP available. We're going to get it. And we're going to place it at 0, 0, okay? So whatever we make here, we're going to add child to grid, and we're going to place it at 0, 0. For now, we're not going to do any counts. We're going to find out what is actually required here, because I'm thinking off the top of my head here that we are only going to need rows and not columns, okay? So if we bear that in mind, then what we're going to do is we're going to create a widget, right? I'm going to do that. Oops, daisy. Drag this out a bit. Okay. And this is going to be W available. I'm going to have to rename these because this is too generic. And it makes sense to call them hotbar available, you know, stuff like that. But in effect, that should actually get us something on the screen. Alright, so we can check that, and there we go. You see we're getting something on the screen. Okay. Now, it obviously isn't right yet, and we need to kind of sort these in some manner. But we are getting our first set of options. And the close button doesn't work. So let's do that first. And remove from parent, and it's going to be self. Okay. So that's cool. And available, we're going to have a look at this. And you can see there that that's basically what we want. Right? And this is GP items. Okay. And then we've got this image here. Now the question is, what's that going to be? And I think we'll do that. Right? And we'll say in the first instance that's going to be the buildings, right? And then we're going to have to do this in batches, okay? So what we'll do is, if we go to individual, we're not going to do that, so it's going to be unavailable, right? And we are going to grab this and we're going to say equals, right? And these are going to be all the different types, right? So that's cool. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to do an, yep, okay. We're going to do an array. We're going to say array building types, right? And it's going to be building type. Okay. We're going to save it. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill it in. If we can see our defaults, wherever they are, down here, and the first thing we need to do is actually change it to an array, right? And the first building type is going to be a refiner, we're going to save that, right? And because I've changed the type, then it's not going to like that. So that's going to be refiner. Okay. And we're basically going to add our different types. So we're going to say refiner, smelter, fabricator, then we're going to say metalworks, and then we're going to say research. Okay, and this is going to give us our types. So now we're going to get that. Then we're going to say for each and then this is basically going to get plugged into the front of this. Okay. This is going to go in here. And we're going to have our array element, and it's basically going to go in here. Right? can drag that down a bit to make it tidy. And basically we move this to the right a bit, and then what we're going to have to do is we're going to branch, and if that is true, then we're going to excuse me, we're going to draw that. Okay. And in fact, our W individual is not going to look like this at all, right? But we're going to have a look at it so far. What happened there? It crashed. Well, that's fantastic. And now the question has to be, how much have we lost? Hopefully not a lot, but at least we've got an idea how we're doing this. And it would actually appear to me that each of our different, well, we'll work on it. We'll see what we come up with, okay? Right, what have we got here? And, well, it doesn't look like we've lost anything really, which is kind of nice. And what we'll do is we'll kind of save it all, and then we'll press play again, and then O, and that's 1, 2, 4. Right. And yeah, there was nothing to that really. We're probably going to have to set the brush on this, but that's okay. And we probably need to redo the individual thing a bit as well. Now, I don't know why it's actually bringing us back all of these things. Well, actually, yeah, I do. This needs to be, actually it is. Right, hang on a second. For each of these, right, we're going to have to do things slightly different here. Okay. We're actually going to have to do a row count on this. Right. So when we complete this, we do a row count 1. Right? So we can do this, and we can copy this. And then when it does this, we actually do a row count. Right, so for each type, we roll around and then we do the row count. Okay, so we're beginning to take shape here a bit better. It's beginning to make a bit more sense, even though it didn't work. Alright, so we can stop that for now. And actually the interesting part here is that these all got added to available. Which kinda isn't right. Okay, let me think about this for a second or two, and we shall come to a conclusion. Right. So we're doing our for next loop. Okay. And actually, funnily enough, what we should be doing here is saying we can delete that, right? And what we can do is for each one of these, right, row count and column count. Oops, wrong one. That's fine. Right, the column count is actually fine, but the row count should be the index. Okay. And we can do that. And it should never hit here anyway, right? But we're probably gonna have to do some work on that. But I want to see how this looks. And these are still a bit weird. Right? And let's look at our hotbar management for now. And our GP available seems to be that we need to size it to content, I think. Yeah, it is set up like that. Right. Save that. There we go. Right, so excellent. Kinda. So if we stop that, we go back to our available and we get that away and we save that, and then we see what we end up with. Right, we've got our refiner, smelter, fabricator. Right, now obviously our rows are not resetting and this is too big, but that's okay. Right, we can sort that out. So if we go back to here and stop it, in fact back to here, and we graph it, right, now we're probably going to have to do a bit of work here. Well, I suppose all this is work, but you know what I mean. It's basically for each loop. Right, it's at the end of completed that we reset the call count. Yeah. So let's check that out, and there we go. Now all we need to do is get these to the right size, basically. Well, that's the first part. The next part is to get this as the type of building that we actually do. And then we need obviously to initialize drag and drop. Okay. So if we go into our here, and we're going to get our image item. Right, we're going to stop this first. We're going to get our image item and brush. I wonder. Let's see, we set that 75, 75. Wonder if this will actually work. I don't think I've ever tried doing it like this before, but we can try it. Nope, didn't do us. Maybe if I do it the other way around. As I said, I never usually do it this way. I usually just set the brush up exactly as I require. Save that. And that didn't work either. Okay, whatever. right? So what we'll do is we'll delete these two, and then we shall basically just set brush, and we shall basically make a brush. Right, so we'll drag that over here, drag that out, make a slate brush. Let's make it 75 by 75, do that, drag that in there, and that's basically us. Right, save that, press play, and that didn't work. Or at least it didn't work for the point of view of if this is filling the screen. Okay. So what I think we're going to do here, right, is we're going to delete that, and the items are just going to be individual, right? So it's actually going to be our available individual. This thing here is going to be so it is going to be, that's going to be a vertical box, right? But these are going to be split up. Or are they? Or are they? Good question. Hey Dante. Well, Dante, you should be able to do your elevator pitch, which is basically you've got about 30 seconds to pitch it. Right, so the thing here is we are actually going to have a horizontal box. Like, we're going to try this. I'm not too sure how this layout's going to go, so up into a point. Right, so that's going to be a horizontal box, and that's going to be a horizontal box, and then in this horizontal box, actually, you know what? We're going to undo that, and we're going to undo it again. And these shouldn't really be in a horizontal box. Undo that. This horizontal box should actually not be there. Right, so what I'm going to do, it's not going to let me. So we're going to copy that, then we're going to delete that, then that's going to go in there, and then we're going to paste that in there. Right, and that is going to get deleted, and then we're going to drop, oh no we're not, we're going to drop a vertical box in here, except it's going to be the first one. Alright, so this horizontal box is fine. Vertical box is going to be, let's say, 35, and this vertical box is going to be 65. Okay, and that's in fact going to be way too big. It means that you've got to be able to pitch your idea in 30 seconds. Okay? So your idea has got to have like initial punch that you can explain it to me and make it sound good in 30 seconds. That is what an elevator pitch is. So you don't need to write out a 50-page document. You just need to pitch the idea in 30 seconds. Right, so that's going okay. Right. This still isn't kind of the right size. But we're not going to worry about that too much for the moment. Right. So that's cool. Let's go to the designer here and let's check. Right, so that's vertical box. So this, what I was going to do is I was going to make this a grid. Right? But that actually doesn't make any sense. Right, so I'm kind of getting to the point here where this was kind of right, the way I had it the last time. Right, and it's going to have to be done Right, I'm going to delete that. Right, it's not going to like me for doing that, but hey ho. And we'll put that back in, and then we need to go back in here and plug these back in. And then we compile it again. Right, so we save that. And we press continue and 0. So we've got our we're back to where we were, right? Now, in here, right, this is kind of wrong. Okay? And what we need here is we want to duplicate this, and this is actually going to come first, and this is going to be GP category. Okay, apparently I have to stop it first. Oops. I'm going to say category. Okay, and we're going to say fill, and it's going to be 25, and then GP items is going to be 75. Okay, so we're going to have our 2 blocks. Okay, and on that, guys, I'm going to grab a quick cigarette. I shall be back in 2 minutes. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and subscribe, and check the description for my Discord and ways to support the channel. I shall be back in 2. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back. Let's get a sip of our coffee, and I'm beginning to think that this should be a widget on its own, which it is, but that's kind of not what I mean. To be honest, I don't know what I mean. Right, but this is right. Okay, we're cool with this. And in here, we've got GP category, and I think what we're going to have to do, well, we've got our building types, so that's okay, right? And it looks to me like each category should have its own widget. Okay. Now, I don't mean I create a new widget for each category. I mean we add a widget for each category when we actually go through this loop, right? Now, the interesting thing here is, I think what we'll try and do is we'll try and get it to work first, okay? I think that's the best idea. So, with that in mind, I'm going to try something. I might create another struct and data table for this. Right, but we're going to do a do once. Okay. And that's basically going to have to be in a sequence. Right, so we're going to say sequence. Okay, we're going to spell it completely wrong. Right. So this is going to go in here. And this is going to go here. Then this is going to go here. And we're going to add a custom event. And we're going to say reset once. Right, and that's going to go in here. Save! Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all, but I'm going to do something else first. I'm going to say reset once. Then I'm going to save it. Right. And in here, we're going to add to our GP category. Okay. We're going to get that. Right now, we are probably add child to grid, and this is where things are going to go to pop, but we're not going to worry about that. right? We're just going to say the row we'll just stick it in there, will we? Try that. Right, but we need to create a new widget, and it's just going to basically be a blooming image. Right, so we'll create a new widget and we'll call it we'll say Hotbar category image. Right, and we're going to delete that, and we're just going to drag in an image. We might need to actually do something with that later, but we're going to set it to something just so it works. Right, we'll say buildings, that'll do. And then we'll do 75 by 75, and we'll save that. And we go back to available, and we drag this out a bit, and drag these out a bit, and we can create widget, and it's going to be our hotbar category image. I'll set up a data table for this. In a wee while. I'll probably do that off stream, so that's kind of, unless you ask me. But hi David Fontes, how you doing, mate? Right, so I've got no idea what's going to happen here, right? Well, kind of worked, except it kind of didn't. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So our column is going up, and that was probably because I plugged it in the wrong place. You silly man. And try play again. Continue. Right, much better. Except for the fact that these are right, but this is wrong. For whatever reason. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? But there's only 4 of them, which is weird. And they're kind of not lined up either. Which kind of suggests that these need to be in basically oh no, that can't work. I was going to say these need to be cut across, like let me get the right thing here. Right, so these are going in here as per we expect, right? then the other section should be going in here. Okay. Now the problem is, in this case, is keeping the two things lined up, right? Now I've just realised that I don't need to actually do once, right? Because that should work anyway. Right, now we should get, delete that, save it. Now what I actually want to see here is, add a breakpoint there, right? What I want to see is the length of this array. And that will tell me how many values I should be getting. I should be getting 5. I should be getting 5 images, okay? And I don't know why I hit stop, but anyway. I'm only getting 4. I should be getting 5. Unless it's something to do with the layout here. And because these are different and the size of this is different, it's all a bit weird, right? So what I'm thinking is that we shouldn't have a GP category, right? What we should, yeah, right, whatever, right? This should be the only thing we have, right? We can turn that to auto 1, right? And basically now this should be the row in column 0, right? And then in here we should set the column to something else, right? So if we set that to like column 2, it's not going to put a space in there though, that's the problem, right? It's not going to like that at all. We are still going to add a child to grid, but it's just going to be in GP items, right? So in theory, the way it's going to work is in GP items, the first column, right, is going to be our category. Then there's going to be an empty blank, and then the next one is going to be our first available, and then the next available, and then whatever. And then it's going to go to the next row, and it's going to get, you know, it's going to do another one, and then it's going to get the next available, and then the next available, and basically go down the rows. Okay, at least that's the idea. And you'll notice that it doesn't do it for the last one. It only does it for 4, right? Which is really bizarre. But as I said, it might be something to do with the fact that it's out of this thing. Right, now let's go back into the code here. And I've just set the row count to 2, so that was stupid. So that row is correct, and the column is correct. It should always be in column 2, but we should be updating column, right? So it should be column count, and we should be setting that to 2. Right? But this up here should not be 3 anymore, it should be like 5. Okay, which is still going to give us our 3 spaces along, but it's also going to give us our, and there we go, right? One, two, see, but the thing is, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this has only got 4, but I can only assume that the other one is here, right? And it is working, but these first ones aren't quite right. So I can only assume that there's some sort of padding or other issue going on with this thing. But there doesn't seem to be. Right? So it's creating an individual widget. It's adding a child to grid. Then there's nothing there that's formatting that. Right, so I can only assume that I'm going to have to wrap this with a canvas panel, and then it's just going to resize to content. Save that. And now that one's screwy. I mean, they are in line. I'll give it that. So we're kind of closer, but I don't know why that is not right. Don't ask me why. No idea. that is either. Right, we'll do 0. Do that. Back to my usual widget wrangling, where I'm not 100% confident about widgets, and this is when all weird again. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. This vertical box, right, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it with a size box. Right? In fact, no, I'm not. I tell a lie. I'm going to wrap this image in a size box. Right, and this size box is just going to say, I'm not going to let you go bigger than 75. And that'll be the end of it. Well, I'm hoping that'll be the end of it. So it still didn't work. How weird is that? And on that, guys, I'm going to end the stream here. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like and subscribe. And as I said before, check out the description. You can join my Discord, and you can support me by looking at my Patreon, looking at my previous game on Steam, and even just adding it to your wish list is a help. So thanks for joining, and I shall see you at 8 PM tonight when I'll be streaming again. I'll be tidying this up while I'm offline, and that'll be that. Bye bye for now.